Hello, everybody. It's Coach Fard Bell here in Coronado, California, with a quick video for those who are asking or saying to yourself, yeah, that's great, but show me the money. First of all, as you all know, I'm always talking about my vision to earn all 12 rings in Legal Shield. When you earn anywhere from $50,000 in a calendar year, or I should say in any 12 months, you earn the first ring. That's the $50,000 ring. When you earn $100,000, you earn the $100,000 ring, then the $150,000 ring. And then it goes on to the 200, 300, 400, 500, 600, 700, 800, 900, and the coveted $1 million ring. What I'm about to share in this video, of course, is for illustration and educational purposes only. Individual results are never guaranteed, right? And so that's my disclaimer. But if you were to ask me, what exactly would I focus on if I wanted to create an extra $500 to $1,000 per month consistently with our game plan, our system, our strategy for our team, and then grow that from $500 to $1,000 plus per month to $500 to $1,000 plus per week, and then grow that to $500 to $1,000 plus per day, and be able to teach others to do the same thing? What I'm about to show you is exactly what I would do. But let's start with some mindset. Napoleon Hill taught us that whatever the mind can achieve and believe, it can conceive. He also taught us that to be successful, we've got to create a definite plan for carrying out your desire and begin at once, whether you are ready or not to put this plan into action. Robert Kiyosaki taught us, reminds us, the author of Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Cash Flow Quadrant, my favorite, and The Business of the 21st Century. 3 things you should have in your wealth library for sure. He said, work to learn, don't work for money. Look for jobs that can help you develop the skills, the systems, and the people, not just pay you well. That's exactly what we have here. In his book, Cash Flow Quadrant, he taught us the 4 ways of producing income. And this is called the Cash Flow Quadrant. On the left side of the quadrant, that's where 5% of the wealth is earned, but 95% of the population is taught to earn their wealth. On the right side of the cash flow quadrant, that's where 95% of the wealth is earned, but only 5% of the population is taught to earn their income on the right side. So what's on the left and what's on the right? Well, on the left side is employees. We have a job. That's when we trade time for money. We go to work, we get paid. We go to work, we get paid. We don't go to work, we don't get paid. So some people go, you know what? I want to own my business. I'm smart enough to start my own business. And so they become self-employed, thinking that they're a business owner oftentimes, but really our self-employed folks, we don't quite own a full system. When we first become self-employed, we really own a job in the beginning. And that's okay, but we still trade time for money because we have to be the one working. It's all about us. We haven't built the 3 things needed to cross over, which are the right systems that work without us, the right people in place to run the system without us, and the right managers and leaders in place to lead the team and manage the whole program without us. Once we are self-employed and we develop those 3 things, we can actually cross over into the B quadrant, business owner, where we own the system that other people run and other leaders and managers run for us, and it generates cash flow whether we're there or not. And then we're able to take the cash flow and invest it in other investments. That's where we become an investor in the I quadrant down here. You own investments where your money generates more money. So the wealthiest people in the world have 1 foot on the left, in the B quadrant, the business owner quadrant, and 1 foot on the right, on the I quadrant, both on the right side of the cash flow quadrant. All right. Get the book, listen to the audio. So how fast can you grow your Legal Shield business? Well, on our team, Team Platinum Born CEOs, we practice and master what I call the presentation formula. That's when you make 10 equals 2 and 1 come alive. What does that mean? That means we use a ratio. Just like in baseball, there's batting average. You know, how many attempts do I need to make in order to get an outcome? Well, our presentation formula that we use is 10 equals 2 and 1. That means 10 controlled presentations equals an average of 2 customers and 1 recruit. That's the target, for 10 controlled presentations to lead you to 2 new customers and 1 new recruit on average. It might be higher for you, might be lower for you, but this is a great average we've been able to use for 20 plus years successfully. And so I highly recommend you do as well. And when you understand what a controlled presentation means, it's different from just sending someone a video to watch on their own. That's not controlled, that's an uncontrolled presentation or an exposure. A controlled presentation is when you or another associate is actually with your prospect during the presentation. You're watching it together or listening to it together, which also makes it easy to transition them to a 3-way call with a third-party expert afterwards. So that's what we mean by a controlled presentation. We have a presentation chart that we utilize at teamplatinum.biz under the game plan. And so check that out. But there's 4 levels of activity. And this is very important to understand, that we don't get paid for the hours that we work. We get paid for the activity we do within those hours. That's why we have people who only have 30 minutes to an hour a day, but they're able to earn more than some people that have 20, 30 hours a week. It's because those who have 20, 30 hours a week might be doing all sorts of activities and taking up precious time, but those who only have 30 minutes to an hour a day are focusing on the main activity that we get compensated for, that creates the results that we get compensated for. And that's how many people are in front of a controlled presentation. And so if you're doing an exposure or a 3-way call, that's great. But know that the purpose of an exposure, giving somebody some information, the purpose of a 3-way call, connecting them with someone else, is to get someone in front of a controlled presentation. That's the main thing. Okay, so what are the 4 levels of activity? The first level of activity is called spare time activity. That means you do 10 or more presentations. You get 10 or more people in front of the presentation in a month, and you're gonna average with that presentation formula, 10 equals 2 and 1. If you're doing 10 a month yourself, that means you're gonna average 1 new team member per month, right? Because 1 out of 10, if you're getting those numbers. Part-time activity is when you do 25 or more presentations in a month. If that's your commitment for the month, you're gonna average 2.5 new team members a month based on the formula. If you're doing what we call full-time activity, that means you're doing 50 or more presentations in a month, and you're gonna average 5 new team members a month. And if you're doing what I call overtime activity, that means you figured out how to get 100 people in front of the presentation in a month, resulting in 10 new team members a month. Now, here's the interesting thing about these activity levels. It's not about the amount of time. For example, you can have 25 people at one presentation. For example, I've had new team members, and I challenged them. I said, hey, would you be willing to carve out 3 hours to invite a bunch of people to a presentation? And if it helped get you on track to earn your first $1,000 and go manage it quickly? And those who said yes and actually did it, and they have a decent warm market of people who know them, like them, trust them, and haven't been damaged by being approached by a whole bunch of other deals by you. Well, those who have done it, out of the 300 invites, have gotten 30 plus presentations on 1 call. So that means they did 30 presentations in the same 30 minutes. What do you mean? Well, all 30 people showed up on 1 Zoom that lasted 30 minutes. So it only took them 30 minutes to show 30 people the presentation in terms of the presentation time, in addition to the time they invited. But think about that. You can show 30 people one at a time, and that would, if that took you an hour each, that would take you 30 hours. If it took you half that time, it would take you 15 hours for 30 people to see the presentation one by one. Or you can have 30 people show up to 1 presentation at 1 time, and you still got 30 presentations done. This is why it's not about how much time you have, it's about how much activity you focus on creating within the time you have. So you are part of a power team. All of us are. And our power teams on Team Platinum have a minimum goal to do over 100 presentations collectively in a month. So let's say there are 10 people that agree to do 10 presentations in a month. That's 100 presentations. If there's 4 people on the team that do 25 or more presentations a month, that's 100 or more presentations. If there are 2 people that do 50 presentations or more in a month, that's 100 presentations. If one person does all 100 presentations themselves this month, maybe they go speak to a church organization with 100 people in the room and do a presentation in 30 minutes. That's 100 presentations. Maybe there's a community group or a women's group or a social group or a networking group or a speaking engagement, and 100 people are in the audience. You can show 100 people the presentation in 30 minutes, or maybe it's virtual by Zoom. So I'm getting your mind around this concept of activity, but you're a part of a power team that has a minimum goal of doing 100 plus presentations. So as a team player, as a future power team leader, you want to be a good power team player and make sure your team knows what they can count on you for this month. Can they count on you for 10 or 25 or 50 or 100? And it might be different last month, might be different next month, but what can we count on you for this month? Not now, but right now. By the way, the speed, notice the speed. If you're only doing if you're doing 10 presentations a month, that's fine. That's 1 new recruit a month, your average. If you're doing 25 a month, you're averaging 2.5 new team members a month. So every 2 months, that's 5 new recruits. If you're doing 50 plus presentations a month, that's 5 new team members a month that you're staffing your business with. And if you're doing 100 presentations a month, that's 10 new recruits a month if you've made the presentation formula work for you. So understand the speed of your business growth is based on the number of presentations that you have going on. Okay, so what would I do if I wanted to earn $500 to $1,000 per month right now with the new compensation plan launched in October of 2021? What would I do? Well, so let's say this is you're personally doing 25 presentations each month. And if you've seen our presentation chart, it has 25 spaces on it for 25 people's names. And then you can keep track of who they are, who invited them, I mean, what they've seen and what the next step is. That's all at teamplatinum.biz under the game plan on the presentation chart. So if you're using the formula and you're making it work, out of those 25 presentations a month, you're getting 2.5 new recruits a month, you're getting 5 customers a month. And if they're signing up for those $65 family plan combos, that'll be 5 of those times $65 equals $325 in personal premium that you're selling every month. So you're doing 5 customers a month. How much are you going to earn? Well, under that compensation plan, there's 2 levels. On the low level, the first number here, well, let's say here, you're going to you're at the associate level, senior associate level, manager level, senior manager level, director level, senior director level, executive director level. So first you pick what level are you, and then this on the low end, you're going to make this number. On the high end, you're going to make this number for your commission on a $65 combo package. It's actually $64.90, rounded up. Well, if you're doing 5 a month, you're making $350 a month on the low end or $385 on the high end as an associate. As a senior associate, you're earning $450 a month on the low end, $495 a month on the high end. As a manager, you're earning $600 on the low end, $660 a month on the high end. As a senior manager, you're making $800 a month on the low end, $880 a month on the high end. As a director, you're earning $1,100 a month or $1,210 each month on the high end. Well, as a senior director, you're earning $1,475 a month, $1,475 a month, or on the high end, $1,620 a month. And as an executive director, you're earning $1,850 a month, on the high end, $2,035 a month. All of these examples are based on 5 customers, family. And so you'll learn how do you earn the high end versus the low end. But either way, you see how you're making $500 to $1,000 a month, especially when you add your monthly performance club bonus for being consistent, plus your matching bonuses. So even at the senior associate level, associate, senior associate level, if you're adding on the performance club bonus if you got $100 plus performance club bonus, you're still over $500 a month. You can clearly see how you make $500 to $1,000 per month all by yourself with presentations. That's what you committing to 25 presentations a month. How many want to do 25 presentations or more per month now? Okay. And how many want to get promoted? You see how you give yourself a raise doing the same thing, you're making more income. Next example is, what would be my plan to earn an extra 500 to 1,000 or more per week? What would be my business plan for that? Well, first of all, in this example, it's beautiful because it's you still doing 25 presentations a month yourself, but that word duplication, which is the key to wealth in this business, comes in. And it's the key to wealth in franchising. If you have a successful model in McDonald's, you duplicate yourself so you have other franchisees doing the same thing. Well, it's the same concept in this business. You're doing 25 presentations per month, and let's say you have a team. You develop 4 teams, and those teams are doing 25 presentations a month each themselves as well. Now, that could be one person doing 25 presentations, just like you are. It could be 3 people doing 10 presentations. Doesn't matter, but collectively, team number 1 over here is doing 25 presentations. The team number 2 is doing the same thing. Team number 3, team number 4. Collectively, that's 100 presentations plus your 25. It's actually 125 presentations there. So you doing your 25 and 4 teams doing the same thing. They're at the manager level. You're going to be at the executive director level. You're going to see why. But there's something called overrides, which is leveraged income. All that means is you're willing to teach others to do what you're doing and help them become successful. Some people aren't willing, so they do it all by themselves. And you can make a 6-figure income or 5 to 10,000 a month, part-time income, doing it by yourself. That's the S quadrant, though. If you want to be in the B quadrant, business owner, then you want to teach others and inspire others to do the same. So here are the executive director overrides when you have manager legs. That means you're going to get the executive director override, which is $75 or $83 on the high end. You're going to get the senior director override, which is $75 or $83 on the high end. You're going to get the director override, which is $60 or $66 on the high end. And you're going to get the senior manager override of $40 or $44 on the high end. That's a total of $250 on the low end or $276 on the high end in overrides per $65 customer that your team members bring in. So your example, your personal premium sold would be $325 a month because you're making 5 sales yourself. You're generating $325 in premium to the company. Don't worry if you don't understand these terms. The more you hear it, the more you'll get it. But personal income, you're actually earning $370 as an executive director on the low end, $470 on the high end, times 5 customers a month that you do yourself. You're making $1,850 or $2,035 each month on your personal sales that you bring in. But what about your team activity and results? Your team is doing 100 presentations monthly, resulting in 10 recruits a month, resulting in 20 family combo customers a month, times that 250 or 276 override. That means your leveraged passive override income is $5,000 a month on the low end, $5,520 a month on the high end. And that's $65 in premium times 20 customers. So you're bringing in 1,300 organizational sales plus your 325 personal sales. That puts you at 1,625 premium in your team per month. That's why you're an executive director. Even if none of that made sense to you, here's all you need to know. Your personal commission is $1,850 or $2,035 a month, plus your team override of $5,000 or $5,520. That means you're earning, whether you understand it or not, $6,850 a month or $7,555 a month because you have duplicated yourself in 4 different teams and your team is doing 100+ presentations a month under your leadership. That's your advanced commission. All right. Now, what would be my plan if you wanted to not make $500 to $1,000 per week, but you wanted to earn $500 to $1,000 per day? This is my business plan here. Again, in this example, you're an executive director. You're still doing those 25 presentations yourself, getting 5 customers a month yourself. But in this example, your 4 teams are now doing 50 presentations a month each, and they've moved up to the senior manager level, which means you're only earning 3 overrides instead of 4 in the last example because they moved up to senior manager, but you've doubled the number of presentations that your team is doing. What would that look like? Good question. Well, as an executive director, your override is 75 on the low end, 83 on the high end. Plus, you're going to get the senior director override, $75 more on the low end, $83 on the high end. Plus, you're going to earn the director override of $60 on the low end, $66 on the high end. That's a total of $210 on the low end and $232 on the high end in your override for teaching others to do what you're doing successfully, inspiring, helping them do it. And so this is, again, on the $65 combo plan, $64.90. So again, personal premium is still $325 a month that you're generating for the company because you're doing 5 customers a month. But your commission is still $370 a month as $370 as an executive director, $470 on the high end, times your 5 customers that you personally sell. So you're still making $1,850 a month on the low end, $2,035 a month on the high end. But here's your team activity now. Now your team is doing double, 200 presentations a month. They're bringing in 20 recruits a month, 40 plus combo plans, times that 210 override or 232. You're now earning $8,400 a month or $9,280 each month on the high end in overrides. Still, your team is doing $65 premium plans times 40 customers. You're now doing 2,600 organizational premium plus your personal. So your organization is doing 2,925 premium into the company, almost $3,000 a month in premium. Even if none of that made sense to you, it's okay. The computer still pays you, and your advanced commission plus your team override is now $10,250 a month on the low end, $11,315 a month on the high end. Family, that's the plan I would follow to create 500 to 1,000 plus per day. Do the math. If you were to double that and your 4 teams were to do 100 presentations a month each, that would be 400 presentations. Just double those numbers and you're making $1,000 a day. Now you have an understanding of why and how we use the presentation formula to create 500 to 1,000 plus per month, 500 to 1,000 plus per week, 500 to 1,000 plus per day. Prove me right, family. There's a ring with your name on it. Every single one of these rings has your name on it. Let's go out there and earn all 12 rings together. Hashtag all 12 rings. Not now, but right now.